sun rose gently over Mysore, casting a golden glow on the quiet neighborhood. Birds chirped in the distance, and the aroma of freshly brewed filter coffee filled the air. Ramesh and Sushma sat on their balcony, sipping their morning coffee, watching the world slowly come to life. After decades in banking, Ramesh and Sushma retired early to support their daughter's dreams. Their sacrifices had paid off. Shalini was now settled in London and Ragini in Singapore, both leading comfortable lives with their families. Sushma stared at the trees swaying in the breeze, lost in thought. Her silence did not go unnoticed by Ramesh. He placed his coffee cup on the table and turned to her. Sushma, don't dwell on the past, he said gently. Our daughters have their own lives now. If we want to live a complete life, we must make peace with it. Sushma sighed, her fingers gently tracing the rim of her cup. I want a life that is more fulfilling than just waiting. Ramesh smiled, not with bitterness, but with understanding. He looked into her eyes and asked, do you believe me? If so, let us celebrate our 35th wedding anniversary as planned. Sushma remained silent for a moment before nodding slowly. Seeing her agreement, Ramesh said with a determined smile, great, we need to finalize the guest list and venue soon. With just a month left, there is plenty of work to do. Once the arrangements were set, Ramesh and Sushma informed their daughters about the anniversary celebration. As expected, both Shalini and Ragini mentioned how busy they were with work, but assured their parents that they would come on the day of the event. Thinking about the past, Ramesh and Sushma couldn't help but think back to the early years, the warmth, the love, the endless conversations. Their daughters had once made them feel like their whole world. But as life moved forward, so did their daughters' priorities. Careers, families, responsibilities, one by one, these took precedence, and the bond that once felt unbreakable slowly faded into distance. Over the years, the only times Ramesh and Sushma had visited their daughters were during the births of their grandchildren. Beyond that, their interactions had been reduced to occasional phone calls and brief exchanges of pleasantries. The depth of their relationship had been replaced by formalities, leaving behind an unspoken understanding, one that neither of them wished to acknowledge, but both had learned. One evening, during a routine video call, Ramesh hesitantly brought up a question that had been on their minds for a long time. Shalini, Ragini, have you ever thought about settling down in India someday? He asked, his voice calm but hopeful. Shalini let out a small sigh, as if the question itself was exhausting. Appa, you know how things are. Moving back just isn't realistic for us. Ragini added with a polite yet distant note. Yes, Appa, our careers, the kids' schools, our entire lives are here now. It's not that we don't miss home, but this is where we belong. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of finality. Ramesh and Sushma exchanged a glance. Ramesh cleared his throat, his voice quieter this time. Then, what about us? We are feeling lonely here. Appa, don't feel that way, Shalini reassured. Visit us or travel and meet friends. Ragini chimed in. Yes, Amma, enjoy life. You have earned it. Their words were kind but distant, as if loneliness could be solved with distractions. Ramesh and Sushma listened silently, realizing that their daughters were no longer the little girls who once clung to them for comfort. They had built their own worlds. That night, staring at the ceiling, Sushma whispered. Ramesh, it's been 2 years. Do they not see we are waiting? Ramesh sighed. They have their own lives now. We must stop expecting. Sushma's eyes welled up. I'm trying. Ramesh, it's too hard. I never thought we would become just a formality in their lives. Ramesh had no answer. He simply held her hand, knowing that no words could ease the ache they both felt. A week later, on a breezy evening, Ramesh stepped out for his usual walk in the neighborhood park. The air was cool, the streets quiet except for a few passers-by. As he walked along the pathway, a sudden tightness gripped his chest. His steps faltered, breath growing uneven. He clutched his chest, struggling to stay on his feet. Seeing Ramesh collapse, two teenagers rushed over. Uncle, are you okay? When he couldn't respond, they grabbed his phone and called Sushma. Auntie, we are taking him to the hospital. Come quickly. By the time Sushma arrived, Ramesh was already being attended to in the emergency ward. The boys had rushed him to the hospital, stayed by his side, and handled the formalities. When Sushma informed Shalini and Ragini about Ramesh's condition, panic set in immediately. Amma, what happened? How is Appa now? Shalini's voice was filled with worry. Ragini quickly added, which hospital is he in? Is he stable? For the next few hours, they kept calling, restless and anxious. But as the doctors assured them that Ramesh was recovering, their concern gradually turned into relief. By the second day, their calls became less frequent. Amma, don't stress too much. Appa is in good hands and we are just a call away, Shalini said reassuringly. Ragini added, Amma, please take care of yourself too. Once Appa is fully recovered, maybe you both should take a short trip somewhere. It will be good for you. Their voices were warm, their words comforting, but that was all they could offer. Their father had just survived a heart attack, yet visiting him was never a part of their plan. Sushma couldn't believe the reality in front of her eyes as she watched the two boys who continued visiting, helping the couple to bring food and medicine and making sure Sushma was never left feeling helpless. Their presence, their care, it was unexpected yet deeply comforting. Recovering at home, Ramesh couldn't forget the boys. Where do they live? He asked. An orphanage, Sushma replied. They work evenings to study. Their kindness weighed on him. He had to see their world. Ramesh and Sushma visited the orphanage. The cracked walls and the scarce resources painted a bleak picture, yet the children's smiles remained bright. Uncle, Auntie, you came, the boys beamed. Learning they worked after school to survive, the couple's hearts tightened. That evening, they arranged for food supplies, clothes, and essential items for the orphanage. The children's eyes lit up with gratitude, but it was Ramesh and Sushma who felt truly humbled. As they left, a quiet understanding settled between them. All these years, they had never desired a grand wedding anniversary celebration. But this time, as their plans took shape, they saw it as the beginning of a new chapter. Coming to the present, the wedding anniversary venue was filled with warmth and laughter. Ramesh and Sushma, dressed in elegant yet simple attire, looked happy and contented as they moved around, greeting their friends and family. It was a celebration in every sense of love, companionship, and a journey of 35 years. Shalini and Ragini had arrived that morning, keeping their promise, returning home after 2 years. After the initial hugs, they sensed a change in their parents, not just happiness, but a quiet peace. The evening flowed smoothly with joyful conversations, heartfelt wishes, and shared memories. After the cake cutting and the other customary activities, the lights slowly dimmed. drawing everyone's attention to the large screen in the center of the hall. A video began playing. Ramesh and Sushma appeared on the screen, sitting together on their balcony where they had spent countless mornings and evenings over the years. The familiar sight of their home was in the background and they looked relaxed, their smiles carrying a quiet strength. Ramesh spoke first, his voice steady yet warm. 35 years of togetherness, a journey filled with love, struggles, sacrifices, and lessons. Life has given us everything: happiness, challenges, and most importantly, the wisdom to understand what truly matters. Sushma nodded and said, "We devoted ourselves to our children and they made us proud. But love isn't about waiting, it is about giving, no matter where life leads us." The video shifted to clips of Ramesh and Sushma at the orphanage, laughing with the children, supervising the renovations, distributing books, and sharing meals. Ramesh continued, "There was a time when we were unsure of what our life meant beyond being parents. But then life showed us a new path." Sushma's voice softened but remained firm. "We have taken a new step in our journey. We have sold our property to create something meaningful. Along with like minded friends, we have formed a trust to support these children, to give them a future where they don't have to struggle alone." Ramesh smiled, looked at Sushma before turning back to the camera. "And we have decided to live among them, to guide them, care for them, and be the parents they never had. In them, we have found a new family, one that doesn't replace our past but enriches our present." The screen faded to black, leaving a simple message: true love doesn't wait, it evolves, reaching beyond boundaries. As the lights turned back on, there was a moment of silence in the room and then applause, genuine, heartfelt, and unbroken. Shalini and Ragini sat motionless. They hadn't expected this. What unsettled them most was that there was no complaint, no bitterness, not even a hint of disappointment in their parents' voices. The realization hit harder than any words could. As guests left, they hesitated before approaching their parents, faces heavy with unspoken guilt. Ramesh smiled gently and Sushma placed a reassuring hand on her daughter's shoulders. "You will always be our children and our love for you will never change." As their parents walked towards the children, who now saw them as family, the sisters learned the hardest truth. Love doesn't wait. It flourishes where it is valued, and when left behind, it doesn't grieve, it rises. This is not love confined to expectations, it was love beyond boundaries.